Little Josie was building a wall, and as he was building a wall, he overheard someone coming from the woods. This stranger gave Josie two options. The stranger told Josie that he can correctly answer his math questions and live, or Josie can incorrectly solve his math problems and die. The stranger told him he would give him Pythagorean Theorem problems which he had to solve. It's been a while since Josie been to school, but he felt confident that he can answer the questions. The first question that the stranger gave Josie was this right triangle. The Pythagorean theorem states that the sum of squares of two sides of a right triangle is equal to amount of the longest side of the triangle, which is known as the hypotenuse. The angle here always points to the hypotenuse, which again is the longest side of the right triangle. Let's now put it into an a squared plus b squared equal to c squared Pythagorean formation. It doesn't matter which side of the two smaller sides of the triangles that you make a or b. So I guess we will make 3 equal to a and 5 equal to b. And for now, let's set c equal to x. 3 squared is nothing more than just 3 times 3 since the exponent has a 2. Also, 5 squared is nothing more than just 5 times 5 since that also has an exponent of a 2. When we simplify these sides, we are left with 9 plus 25, which equals to 34. We aren't done yet. We also need to take the square root of 34. This is typically the mistake students usually make, and that is that they forget to take the square root. When you take square root, we should get an answer of square root of 34, which equals to x. Josie got the question right. However, the stranger was having a lot of fun, so he wanted to give Josie another question. The stranger told Josie that say if he leans a ladder against Josie's house that was 6 feet from the bottom of the house to the base of the ladder, and that was 10 feet from the base of the ladder to the highest part of the ladder. What is the length of the home from the highest part of the ladder to the base of the house? Here we will solve x squared plus 6 squared equal to 10 squared. 6 squared is 36 and 10 squared is 100. Then we will subtract 36 to both sides, which cancels out the 36 on the left and then leaves 64 on the right side of the equal sign. Then in order to solve for x, we will need to take the square root of both sides and we will get 8. Just a side note, the next question here is definitely known to prepare you the best for Pythagorean theorem problems. Let's take a look at this problem. Here we want to find the area of this isosceles trapezoid. In order to solve for the area, we want to first analyze this isosceles trapezoid and be more open to draw on the trapezoid or really any figure that you have in front of you. Something that we can do is at these angles we can draw dotted lines down, and this in turn will create right triangles inside of the isosceles trapezoid. If you want to, you can pause the video now to see if you can solve. Alright, we are back, so we know that from here to here is 10 because the 10 up here aligns with this base. The formula for area of isosceles trapezoid is the sum of these parallel sides, which we can call base 1 and base 2 times 1 half times the height. The values that we have is the parallel sides, and which is 10 and 20. However, we need to calculate the height, which I colored here in red. Also keep in mind that the height is not equal to hypotenuse in order to get to calculating the height. Let's continue to look at this figure and see what we can solve. Here we can put an x here and another x here. However, we don't know what these values are. Since we are working with isosceles trapezoid, these values should be the same, and sometimes even looking at the shape, it looks to be congruent, meaning the same. Let's call this x and x. X plus x is equal to 2x, so 2x plus 10 is equal to 20. It's equal to 20 because the two x's and the 10 aligns with the 20, which is one of the bases. So next we will subtract 10 to both sides of the equal sign, because what you do to one side of the equal sign you do to the other side, and this will get rid of the 10 on the left side of the equal sign, and this will subtract 10 from 20 on the right side, and then we will be left with 2 times x equal to 10. We will do 10 divided by 2 and get x equal to 5. So therefore the two x's both have a value of 5. There are two ways to calculate the area of isosceles trapezoid. I will show you the slightly complicated way now. which is just memorization of the isosceles trapezoid formula. The formula is 1/2 times the height times the base of one side plus the base of the second side. We have everything we need except for the height. Since we are working with right triangle, we can calculate using the Pythagorean theorem. The side that this angle point to is called the hypotenuse, which again is the longest side of the triangle. So this is the hypotenuse. So let's follow that Pythagorean theorem formula. We have 5 squared plus h squared is equal to 13 squared. Let's simplify 5 squared and 13 squared. We should get 25 and 169 respectively. Then we will subtract 25 to both sides of the equal sign. The 25 will cancel out on the left, and when you subtract 25 from 169 on the right, we are left with h squared equal to 144. Then we will take the square root of both sides and we will get 12. So therefore 12 is the height of the isosceles trapezoid. So since we have everything that we need, we will solve for the area, which is the base of one side plus base of second side times 1/2 times the height, and we will get, so that will be 10 plus 20 times 1/2 times 12, and we will get the area of 180. Let's say that we forgot the isosceles trapezoid formula. What we can do is look at this image and just ask yourself, what do you see within this figure? In this figure, I can see 2 right triangles and 1 square. The area of a triangle is base times height times 1/2, and the area of square is length times width. Let's first solve for the area of the square. The area of the square is 12 times 10, which is the length and width respectively. The value will give us 120. The area of the triangle is 5 times 12 times 1/2. Since we have an isosceles triangle, the area of these triangles should be the same. So once we find the area of one of the triangles, we can simply multiply the value by 2. Then we will get an area of 30 for one triangle, and then multiply this value by 2 and get area of 60 for both triangles. When we add the value of the area of the square and 2 triangles, we will get a total area of 180, which is the same value that we got when we calculated the area using the area of the isosceles trapezoid. Some of you guys might be wondering where the height of 12 comes from, and the 5, those values came from earlier, so feel free to rewind this video to check again how these values were calculated. These values would still need to be calculated. Josie managed to survive his encounter with that stranger because all of his answers was correct. I just wonder what possibly could have happened if Josie accidentally may have forgotten to calculate the square root, or maybe possibly did not have a certain formula memorized. But luckily he was able to carefully think through those math problems. So once he do that, there should not be anything for him to worry about. On greater news, if you guys are interested, I can make a video on a Pythagorean theorem question that will much better prepare you for most Pythagorean theorem problems. If you're interested in this video, definitely let me know in the comment section. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be safe, y'all.